Saturn, please grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change. Mars, give us the courage to change the things that we can. And Jupiter, give us the wisdom to know the difference. It's the day of Selene and the hour of Jupiter. I'm Rev Dev, and you're listening to Selene's Gateway Morning Edition. We're continuing our Thomas Taylor translations of the Orphic hymns, and today is To the Moon. And it goes as follows. Hear goddess, queen of diffusing silver light, bull-horned and wandering through the gloom of night, with stars surrounded and with circuit wide, night torch extending, through the heavens you ride, female and male, with silvery rays you shine, and now full orbed, now tending to decline. Mother of ages, fruit-producing moon, whose amber orb makes night's reflection noon. Lover of horses, splendid queen of night, lover of vigilance, the foe of strife, in peace rejoicing and a prudent life, fair lamp of night, its ornament and friend, who givest to nature's works their destined end. Queen of the stars, all wise Diana, hail, decked with a graceful robe and ample veil. Come, blessed goddess, prudence starry bright, come, moony lamp, with chaste and splendid light, shine on these sacred rites with prosperous rays, and pleased accept thy supplements, mystic praise. And so it is. And with the moon comes the tides, for she pushes and pulls the great oceans around us, and the tides for the day are as follows. The first tide for the day was a low tide at about 6:04 a.m. The second tide is the high tide, which is peaking about now in where I am at 9:05 a.m. The third tide is going to come in low at 6:59 p.m. and the fourth tide is high and peaks at 11:16 p.m. As always, the tide times are the same for each time zone, and you don't need to adjust for the time zone that you're in. They're relative to where the moon is going to be in your area at that time. And the shadow hours for the day are as follows. The shadow hour for the daylight hours starts at 7:38 a.m. and it ends here where I am in about 10 minutes at 9:28 a.m. These will be felt strongest by those with the nodes in Cancer or with the moon co-present the nodes. And the shadow hours for the night hours go from 11:46 p.m. to 11:56 p.m. today. This will be felt strongest by those with the nodes in either Aquarius or Capricorn, and also with Saturn co-present either of the nodes. As always, these are great hours for doing remediation work and to simply observe any frustrations or events that may occur. For the whole list of shadow days and hours, as well as an explanation, please download Selene's Almanac Spring Quarter from my Patreon. You'll also find an explanation for the energy tides as well. The transits for the day are as follows. The moon trined Mercury early in the morning and then squares Saturn. Later in the evening, she perfects a trine to the sun in her waning gibbous phase. Today, Pluto stationed direct at 8:34 a.m. West Coast time, and so that was 11:34 a.m. East Coast time. And it's going to be retrograde until it stations direct on October 16th. I talked for a good amount yesterday about Pluto and its meaning, and it was a good day to do that because Mercury was communicating with Pluto. And one of the things that I want to bring up about this Pluto transit is its sextile to Neptune. And so Pluto and Neptune are going to be riding this energy wave pretty close together uh, for the next couple of years. And so with Neptune approaching the degrees where Pluto is, they're basically going to be heading towards each other right now. And I think it's important to notice this station specifically because it should give us clairvoyance or understanding as much as we can about some of the themes that may pop up for this Pluto, Neptune, Uranus construct and Pluto's role in it. Pluto's always going to be the first planet to station retrograde between the three of Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, and the stations are always loud. So, uh, that's just the rhythm that we're going to be feeling this year. And I think that we should take the time to feel into that rhythm because for the next 7 years, it's going to be Pluto stations direct and then Neptune stations, or Pluto stations retrograde, then Neptune stations retrograde, and then Uranus will station retrograde. And so it's going to kind of flow in that order of like something coming from within or from underneath being revealed or exposed, pulled out from the darkness into the light, uh, to then Neptune, which may represent something of the collective consciousness, something of how we are interconnected, but also seemingly separate from one another to also then when Uranus stations retrograde, some form of announcement, awareness, or divine inspiration coming down and uh, and exciting our our intellectual state. And then these are going to be happening in completely different signs. And so Pluto is in this Aquarius place that's ruled by Saturn. It's a fixed air sign. So the way that we structure our thoughts or our collective agreements is going to be the thing that Pluto is always testing. And I really feel like we saw that during Trump's inauguration when Pluto was conjunct the sun um, for this term. And then Neptune is going to be bringing a fiery, active inspiration, though it's going to be slow building for the next couple of years because of Saturn's co-presence in Aries. Saturn is going to be bringing a slowness to Aries, and so it'll change once Saturn moves on to Taurus in like a year and a half. But currently, like that's kind of like the structure of the bubble that Neptune is building. The astrology podcast recently released a like a short uh blurb or video of Neptune's engagement or relationship to oil. And that's something that I saw a couple of years ago. So I think you should definitely check it out because there might be revelations about oil through these transits, especially since Pluto brings something out from the depths where we get oil from. And then it was a Neptune Saturn transit when oil was refined into what we use it today and kind of started our collective addiction to oil, which is interesting because a lot of people associate Neptune with forms of addiction or getting lost in addiction consciousness. And then Uranus is in Gemini, and Uranus's part of Gemini is usually bringing in some sort of like inspired innovation, changing changing up the way that we do things, changing up the way that we facilitate our existence. And so keep these things in mind as you're looking into your personal life because the Pluto retrograde and direct stations are going to be about your internal work. And if you're doing your internal work, if you're into shadow work and things of that nature, then then the Pluto should be able to bring about revelations in your shadow work, Whereas if you're not doing shadow work, or if you know people that aren't paying attention to the ways that they're being led by their shadows, you may see some of your friends go through some substantial breakthroughs, but that can look messy sometimes. Whereas, like, and we'll talk about this closer when we get to Neptune stationing retrograde, but Neptune's going to be more about how we move forward, and the groups that we identify with uh, through a sense of spirit, will, and action, um, in that sort of a way. Whereas, like, the Uranus stations are going to maybe bring clarity or understanding or inspiration about how we should be doing things differently that are going to improve our lives. And so that's what I have to talk about for today's transit. Things for you to reflect on. The tarot card for the day is the Three of Wands. And that's part of what inspired me to say what I've said about the transits. But the Three of Wands is pointing us towards uh, this classic understanding of somebody who's ready for their next chapter of their life, for the next thing that they want to do. They've prepared, they've done the work, they've done the training, they've done the exercises, and now they're ready to move forward. And they're just kind of waiting for that go button, for that final sign to like set out on their goals, and uh this card, the Three of Wands, points us to the second decan of Aries. The second decan of Aries takes place from the first 10 days of April, roughly. And in that period of time, uh, it's kind of associated with the energy of March. March is named after the god of Mars, and it's when the Roman Empire would march off to war. But before Mars became explicitly a war god, Mars was an agricultural god, strictly, and was about defending the property, defending the borders, defending the culture, defending his people, and also working on the fields. Like, that was the main construct of Mars before he became a war god. And so um this uh period of Aries, the second decan of Aries, is about working the land, working your uh working your internal goals and seeing them manifested, like getting the field plowed, getting the field planted, these types of things. And that's what I like to think about when I'm looking at this figure, especially from the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, of him looking out open to the world in front of him, uh, is that it is a readiness, or the goals that have led up to this point are being acknowledged, and it's time to seize the day and utilize the tools that we've gained and structured our lives around, whether it is going to school, completing courses, or things of that nature, and then taking that and moving it forward into the next phase, starting the business, uh, moving to a new city, whatever the next phase of your life is. Like, maybe that's what Pluto will help drive you towards, or bring out of you as you move forward today. For me personally, I've started something that's called 90 for 90, and it's a Alcoholics Anonymous construct where you try to hit 90 meetings in 90 days. And so just a meeting a day for 90 days straight. And so today I went to my second meeting, and I'm going to be continuing to try to accomplish this goal for the next 88 days. And so, yeah, so that's part of the journey that I'm on. I'm curious about some of the journeys that the rest of you are on, and please leave a comment about what you think your journey is on in the comments below. The tarot card for the day, instead of pulling from the Journey of Oz and Wonderland, I have a second deck that I use a lot, and it's called the Light Seers Tarot. It's been pretty popular. I've seen a lot of people like the Light Seers Tarot. And the reason why I enjoy it is because, well, first of all, I was inspired to get it during the Venus Cazimi in Aries last year. And it it's been helping me work on my light work. And what I mean by that is I can get myself locked into depressive states. I can get myself looking at all of the terrible atrocities and like awful things that are both happening in the present and the past, and and also what's being projected and created to create a terrible future for a lot of people as well. And so this deck is actually, if you're that type of person, I really suggest getting this deck because one of the practices is to always turn the card upright, like once a day. It's called a light seer practice. And the kind of the guide or the goal is to like invite light into my shadows. Um, this isn't like a spiritual bypassing tool or anything like that. This is about um helping people like me who do spend a lot of time focusing on dark energy and just creating a space to invite some light in each day. And so, um, one of the things that I like about this card is that it depicts a person looking out into the ocean with their surfboard in hand and waiting for their perfect wave, or waiting for the wave that they're going to ride. And I like this a lot um because we can be too hesitant about our opportunities, and sometimes it's just important to get out there and ride the waves. Uh and another thing about it too is that surfing is a lot about trust. Trust in yourself, trust in your practice, getting out there, getting a lot of waves under your belt, learning your center of gravity. There's a lot of stuff that you can't learn in surfing until you're out there on the waves. I've tried to learn surfing. It's absolutely difficult. I did not succeed at surfing, and I'm not saying everybody needs to go learn how to surf, but it is a great example that it doesn't matter how much you prepare for something, it isn't until you actually start doing it that you're going to get great at it. Um, you can practice the guitar for years, but if you want to be a performer, you need to get on a stage and get used to being on a stage. If you're going to be an astrologer. Like if you've studied years of astrology and taken official courses and stuff, you're not going to be able to feel comfortable with astrology until you start doing astrology for other people. And same with tarot reading. You could, if you want to read tarot for other people, you just have to start doing it. And so this is me giving you permission to go start doing the thing that you've been preparing to do. Just start doing it. Get your feet wet, get out there, ride the wave, find your center of gravity, get tossed around, and move on. Pick yourself up and just get better. Just keep getting better. And that's what I'm trying to do with with these recordings as well. And so this is what the author has to say. Energy manifested, waiting for the results of effort, arrival of opportunities, finally understanding your ambitions, continuous improvement, moving in the right direction, progress. You've been doing the work, Lightseer, planning, seeing, learning. Watch for the signs that your dream is on the way because they are everywhere. Take pride in the progress you've made, for your past efforts have created a momentum that you need to get the ball rolling. Today, you are moving through energy that you created in the past. I really love that line. I'm going to repeat it again. Today, you are moving through the energy that you created in the past. And being here, ready and waiting, is a milestone that you should recognize as success. While there is still work to be done, know that you're heading in the right direction, and you will see your big waves coming in soon. When they arrive, you may not know exactly how to ride them, but you will be ready to learn. Look for that new relationship, that new client, or that lucky break on the horizon, for the arrival is imminent. The other thing that's nice about the Lightseer Tarot is that it comes with a mantra. And so I think that you should take this as a mantra if you wish. I know I'm going to be saying it to myself for today and maybe like write it down in my schedule for the week. And it says, I am expectant and optimistic, and I know that my dream is on the way. I am expectant and optimistic, and I know that my dream is on the way. I am expectant and optimistic, and I know that my dream is on the way. And there's two really key things here. Going back to uh, today, you're moving through the energy that you created in the past. If this isn't to put blame on yourself if you don't like where you are, but it is giving you permission to start doing the things you need to do in order to improve where you are in the future. Uh, and then the mantra is great because we can get worried and look into the future with fear and look into the present with fear and nervousness. But we need to, in order for things to improve in our lives, we have to step with our best foot forward. And part of that is choosing optimism. Both optimism and fear come from the unknown. I'm going to repeat that. Both optimism and fear come from the unknown, unknown about the future. We don't know what the future is going to bring, but fear closes us down and optimism opens us up. And it's through that lens that is going to color and shade your reality. And that's an important frame to consider if you're feeling negative or worried or fearful or if it's blocking you, or if feelings of unworthiness come through, you are worthy. And it's important to give yourself the benefit of the doubt that you deserve good things, that you deserve a good life, and that you deserve positive things in your life. And we all deserve good things, and the world needs us to be optimistic in the sense of like not blind optimism, but it's important to know that we can do something together about the terrible things that are happening in the world if we believe it's possible. So believe in a future, believe in a bright future, believe that it's possible, and look for people that want to help build a better future. But first, believe in yourself that you can build a bright future for yourself. And that's what I have for you for today. And as always, I'm going to close the circle. It's the way that I began. And Saturn, please grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change. Mars, give us courage to change the things that we can. And Jupiter, give us the wisdom to know the difference. I'm Rev Dev, and may the fire inside guide you. You've been listening to Celine's Gateway Morning Edition. You can find my almanac at Patreon at Celine's Gateway. You can schedule a tarot or astrology reading for me at celinesgateway.com. And on social media, I'm known as the Esoteric Butcher.